Hi, this is Wade from Chandler Limited. We're visiting Vintage King LA, and we're going to talk about our new guitar amp, the GAV19T. It's a 19-watt, all-tube, handmade, hand-wired, Class A cathode biased amp. It is meant to be in the style of English amps. I love old Selmer amps, old Voxes, Marshalls, Watkins Dominators, and although it's not a copy of any of those, it was meant to be in that style. There's some new circuits that we experimented with and put in on the amp. A lot of it is based on that, but we're kind of going for a vintage application, kind of with some new ideas behind it. So what you get for some of the changes we made, you can bias the preamp tube, which lets you change the sustain, the distortion characteristic, whether it's fuller, a little more smooth and round, how aggressive it sounds. You have an input control with high and low inputs. The tone control is a Baxandall style circuit. I used a Baxandall because I thought it left the least amount of negative sonic imprint on the amp. I thought it preserved what the amp was. So it's a high-low boost, much like you'd have on, say, even an old Neve module or any of those tone control type things. But the way it's set that's different is it's a large amount of boost, and it's a pretty wide range of frequencies, and it's meant to act like a treble booster pedal almost. So you can use that tone control to really drive and color the amp. The other thing that, one of the really important parts of the amp is the drive section. Now this is a distortion overdrive type of thing, but it only uses the tubes of the amp. It's an all-tube circuit, and it also functions just on the power amp section. So you can go in and drive the power amp section in various ways, and I think a lot of us know that driving the power amp is where most of the rich kind of full tone comes from. So I really wanted to take advantage of that. So you can go in, you can select 4 different tones. There's a treble boost, a full range boost, a setting called aggressive, which is actually a mid-range, kind of a higher mid-range boost, and then a mids, which is a lower mid-range boost. So you can go in and pick how much of that you want, how you want to color the amp, and how you want to overdrive the power section. So, for example, if you want to start with more of a basic tone without the overdrive in it, right? That's with no overdrive. And then let's go in and add some of the aggressive mid boost. So that's with the mid-range. Let's go on the thick. And this will overdrive the amp even heavier with an emphasis on all of the frequency ranges. The last little bit we put on is called the tone toggle, and you can select between normal and aggressive, or intense, sorry. And this is a neat little trick that actually unbalances the tubes a little bit, and it adds distortion, sustain, and kind of an aggressive grit to the sound. And it's a nice little kind of lead tone that I like to throw on there sometimes. Let's hear how that sounds. Here's it kind of cranked up without it, and we do have some other things going on here. So there's without. Let's go back in. You can hear how aggressive it gets. You could also hear the sustain on those first few notes. Let me show you that sustain thing without it. So it starts to sustain a little bit there, singing a little bit. Then when we go in, you can really start to make it sing when you flip that button in. A really nice aggressive lead tone, and a good way to kind of switch it from, say, rhythm mode to lead mode.